a wicked man and cannot enter the kingdom of Zion.
That's right, brothers and sisters, the Most High's gather in Israel. I'm Elder Ricard Shiar of the Gathering of Christ Church here with a very, very, very important message today. Please hit that like button, please. And make sure you subscribe and share this evening's broadcast with everyone you know. Okay? For those who don't know, I'm Elder Ricard Shiar of the Gathering of Christ Church. Okay, we believe in Christ, first and foremost, our Lord and Savior. His name is Yeshua, which is Savior, not Joshua, like these others would have us believe, hating Christ's true name. And the name of our God, the God who delivered Moses and the children of Israel out of Egypt, his name had been hidden by the Kabbalists, the Satanists, those who control the world. And I'm going to let you know right now, his name is Ahaya. Okay, in the Yiddish or the broken Hebrew, they say Iye amongst Judaism, but they know that his name isn't Iye, it's Ahaya. Them and others, the Gentiles, have conspired together to keep God's name and Christ's name and the truth of them from the masses. They've lied to the world, and above all, they've lied to God's people. But brothers and sisters, the time is up. The gig is up. So Satan is throwing everything at the wall, hoping something will stick. And I thought that I would do a quasi-history yet poignant biblical lesson this evening. What is this lesson? Moloch.
I can see the fear in your eyes.
No children are safe.
You
Moloch.
saw something you can't explain.
This may be one of the most detailed lessons to date concerning prophecy and what we're up against, because no children are safe, regardless of nation, regardless of whether or not you're a Gentile or an Israelite, Jew or Gentile. No children living in the earth is safe.
I can't do this anymore.
Okay, and it's upon us as watchmen to expose the evil, because it tells us in the Bible that man of sin must be revealed. Okay. Make sure you share this evening. The God of the Hebrews, his name is Ahaya. Yeshua is Christ's name. And we're the children of Israel, and we're back. Okay? Not unlike a lot of what you see out there, brothers and sisters. Some people get typecast, stereotyped. And that's how the enemy like it. They would like people to believe that an Israelite is some rogue religious group that's out there cursing out white people. Okay? That's the base understanding of an Israelite. And this is why last Sunday in the academy we went into Israelite doctrine. Okay? We're not going to let you downplay or dismiss what an Israelite is according to God. It has nothing to do with some rogue group out there with the Bible cursing out people. Israelites are God's chosen people. And that's who we are. Okay? And that's disrespectful and condescending and dismissive to try to write Israelites off as some rogue group. That's like claiming that all white people are high-ranking or a part of the KKK. That's how ridiculous that thought process is. It's dismissive, and it's dismissive to God's prophecy concerning God's people in the very end. That at the very end, we would begin to understand everything before the judgment of this world. Okay, Ezekiel 37 tells us about us waking up out of this grave, this sleep, and realize altogether that we're not just regular people. We're not black, Puerto Rican. We're not bywords that we were named by our Gentile slave masters. We were named by God. It's dismissive to try to put us in a bubble and claim us to be something other. It's disrespectful to call me anything outside of what my God named us, me and my people. We're not black. We're not African American. We're not African. We are the children of Israel. That's who we are. Has nothing to do with a group or a belief. People out there who don't even know who they are from the genetics of Israelites. They're just ignorant to that fact. We're here to bring that Bible to connect the dots for you all today, and I hope you are attentive. I hope you are attentive. This coming Sunday in the Academy, week 11, we're going into UFOs, unidentified flying objects in the Bible. What are they? Does the world have their own UFO stations? Have they made weapons to fight against God in the Battle of Armageddon? Well, that and more in week 11 in this academy, and we're going to let you know about the angelic chariots of God this coming Sunday. It's going to be broken down like you would never believe. UFOs. What is the governments of the world hiding with unidentified flying objects? And are they in collusion with satanic factions who were already here? That and more. Hebrew in Bible Academy. You don't want to miss it. Yes, we're coming up into week 11. We only have 1 week after that, and then we have a Q&A test. And then guess what? We're going to start this thing again, 3 full months. Spiritual understanding on the next level. We went from history, archaeology, this particular segment, and we're going into high-level spirituality and application for the next academy. Not just identifying the truth concerning the Bible, but how to utilize the Bible as a shield, as a hedge in the world we live in. Application will be next academy. Spiritual understanding will be next academy, and I hope you are a part of it. If this interests you, go to historytimes.org and enroll. Okay? We're taking enrollments. Okay? historytimes.org. Get in early. Don't try to press up on us in the last minute and say I didn't get my email, my welcome packet, and all these others. Please, if you intend on being a part of this for the next academy, and they'll tell you there's nothing like it. Go to historytimes.org and enroll. It's quite cheap. 3 months, and guess what? It's way less than 30 cents a day, so it's affordable. All right, 3 months. All right. Now, jumping right in, our next week's baptism have turned into something else. It went from about 10 people up to almost 200 people and counting. So when we're there next week, next Friday, mass baptism, 12 a.m. 12 noon, not 12 a.m., 12 noon sharp. We're going to speak to the people. We're going to pray with the people, our people throughout the earth, Jews and Gentiles alike. And we're going to have a mass baptism. That's right. The greatest in number in one day since the inception, since the beginning of this church. And I believe that this in of itself is going to bring the Holy Spirit to actually do what? The Holy Spirit will bring this church closer together with those who will go into Zion with. A mass baptism, almost 200 people and counting. Okay, and the Most High, once we are operating in this earth with no schisms, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, I believe the Most High is going to do something great, a wondrous works in this church beyond anything the world have seen. And this is why this coming baptism in the 7th month, okay, the atonement month, it's so important. It's uniting the children of Israel under Christ so that we can have the body to help one another and the members of the body to help one another through Jacob's trouble, through the time of tribulation at the end. And I hope this baptism can bring us all together, those who belong in Christ's body. And as we come closer to the end, as the doors close, we'll have to deal with those who we're with. But it's best that we know who's who within this body, and that we're all here for one reason and one reason only: to serve Christ and to help one another through this trouble. Okay, 200 and counting baptized. I thought it was just going to be a few people, but I thank the Most High for it. We're gonna bring this thing together. A strong baptism before the earth, and I'm sure the Most High will have favor on that day, seeing so many of his people come to him in the spirit of contrition, contrite, humility, thankful, appreciative for all the Most High have done for Israel. Even through our trouble, he's been with us. And it's time to humble ourselves before the Almighty and ask him to hedge and to protect us through these times. And I believe, again, something great is going to come out of this baptism. Okay? And if you need to be baptized, be a part of this great ministry in Christ in the last days, just send an email, gatheringas1@aol.com. Okay, we have brothers and sisters working around the clock to make sure someone personally contact you and give you the directions of where to be. It's going to be in the DMV, DC, Washington, DC area. And I hope to see you. Myself, Elder Lawyer, and the other leaders of this church will be in the water waiting to bring souls to Christ, because that's what this is all about. Okay? Now, jumping right in. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Shalom.
Shalom, sir. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I can't complain at all. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm chopping at the bit for next week. I can't wait to see what the Most High going to do with this baptism. It's been a long time since we've been together out here in the open with God's people in all white, bringing them into this fold. So I believe it's going to be a great thing next week. Right?
Absolutely.
Now, jumping right in, Elder Lawyer. Jumping right in. I need you to go to Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. Our lesson or our broadcast today, hit the like button, please, brothers and sisters, as people fold in. Our lesson today, MOLOCH, no children are safe. Now, I'm breaking this down, brothers and sisters, to show you how we've gotten here. We're under almost an industrialized, high-tech MOLOCH system for child sacrifice, unbeknownst to ourselves. It's not like it was in ancient times, under a priesthood where people would voluntarily bring their children to be sacrificed to Moloch or to Baal for a blessing from the gods. Okay?
It's a Thuggee ceremony. They're worshiping Kali.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Nobody's seen this for 100 years.
most people would fight back altogether and actually go to war if they were to realize that their children are being targeted, bloodletted, or killed, or even worse, sacrificed to the gods of the elite for this world. Listen to what I'm saying, folks. There's been a lot of mysterious things going on, and no one is letting us know that it's some of these elites allegedly, or could be, dealing under a sacrificial religious rite from ancient times. The Canaanite god Baal, child of sacrifice. Are the elite and others still practicing this particular ideology or religion? And what's worse, have they tricked people in this world into actually participating in the initiation? Well, if you want to know what's going on, listen to this broadcast tonight. It's going to floor you. It's going to floor you. Elder Lawyer, let's go real quick. Let's go to the Bible, please.
Yes, sir.
And start at 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter and the 1st verse. And I'm going here because Christian Jesuits have lied to the people. They have lied to the people. They have people out there searching for a boogeyman, claiming an antichrist. One man is going to come, and the Christians don't have to worry about anything from this boogeyman they created throughout their theology. You don't have to worry about doing anything because there's dispensationalism, which makes us know that what? That the Antichrist must come after the church is raptured. All garbage. It's a Jesuit lie, a theological lie from the pits of hell. They've tricked Christians into believing, well, I don't have nothing to worry about as long as I'm still here. There is no tribulation or Antichrist, while many people and their families are dying in number, right up under their noses, without them relating that to a particular Antichrist. Because they told they should be floated before all of this tribulation and death happens. Well, brother, I'm going to break it down. It's a lie from the pits of hell. We've been suffering tribulation ever since the Romans, the Edomites, sacked our homeland, Jerusalem, in 70 AD. We've been suffering tribulation. We're at the end of the tribulation now. So we don't have to worry about some boogeyman the Catholic Church done cooked up to realize that we're under danger by an Antichrist. It's not a man.
This is an
It's a system.
emergency broadcast transmission.
We're going to stay on the air for as long as possible.
We're seeing heavily armed forces being deployed.
Every man make himself and his country proud. Be brave! Be brave! Be brave! We're under attack!
What we just witnessed come out of the ocean.
12 different locations across the globe were breached.
There are massive casualties in Moscow, Paris. We lost communications with Tokyo, Rio, and New York.
Now, it even gets worse. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is continuing its global push to support its so-called government-backed digital ID programs, and this time setting its sight on Kenya, where it will advise the government on that country's Maisha Namba digital ID initiative that is currently under development. So, according to a Kenyan news agency, Gates' role is assisting the Kenyan government in its development, and the rollout of Maisha Namba was announced after a recent series of the closed-door meetings with Kenyan President William Ruto. According to Biometric Update, Maisha Namba is supposedly expected to address different challenges, such as identifying and authenticating citizens, safeguarding primary registration documents such as birth certificates and national identity cards, and improving the management of the social programs and government operations. The project has been met with skepticism in some parts of the country. Rights groups have also been expressing concern over the possibility of discrimination and the erosion of privacy. But listen, I just told you in the very nice way. Now let me just put it blatantly to you. The program targets the birth of new babies. So once you have your baby, before your baby leaves the hospital, you no longer get a paper birth certificate, but then you get a digital one that is somehow implanted somewhere on somebody's body. Think about that, but have a listen to this.
The digital ID, which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministries concerned, that by December, we will be able to launch digital ID, where every Kenyan don't have to carry any paper, plastic or otherwise, as an ID, that they should be able to be identified digitally using their iris or their fingerprints, and we can transact without the necessity of people struggling to identify who they are. And the proudest part of it is that we don't have to spend the billions that we have spent on all the other manenos, as all of you know.
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
Kenya is in serious trouble. Now, for you to accept this, that means you're going to be completely surveilled and controlled. Think about it. So they have targeted the new babies, of course, even the ordinary citizens, the grown-ups, the young ones, the teenagers, and even the elderly ones will receive this digital ID. But they will then create a new generation where they'll be completely under this digital ID and they have no choice.
Elder Lawyer, let's read 2 Thessalonians 2:1, and let's read this.
Yes, sir. 2 Thessalonians 2:1. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yeshua the Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand.
The day of Christ is at hand, folks. We're near the end. Read.
Verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
The son of perdition. Now, Paul tells us that mystery of iniquity doth already work. Right? Let's go down to where it reads that, and I'll jump back to the 3rd verse, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 7.
Now listen to the 7th verse.
For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work.
So the Antichrist, the man we're talking about that we're looking for, was actually operating during the same time Christ was in the earth. The disciples were in the earth. So this mystery of an Antichrist has always operated. And that's why Paul says the mystery of iniquity doth already work. So Paul give us a clue that it was working during his time. So how are Christians looking for a new Antichrist that didn't pop up? today.
It happened so suddenly.
When Paul said
This
that
man
it was working,
came to power
he was working
and ordered
during the
everyone to have
time
his mark,
of the disciples.
the mark of the beast.
For the mystery of iniquity,
6 months
which is
ago,
the
I
Antichrist,
snagged an exclusive
doth
interview
already
with
work.
The Antichrist.
Only what?
Yes.
Read.
Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
So the Most High is going to let Satan and his cohorts, his ministers, operate until they fill up the sum of evil. And at that point, they'll be destroyed. It's upon us to follow God's law and be hedged, not to get caught up in the judgment on the wicked, on the Antichrist systems, and those who actually exalt and promote it. It's up to us to what? Shield ourselves from this judgment by following God's law. Right? So the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Go back to the 4th verse again, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
So we know these particular people, or the man of sin, at the very end would be what? Trying to sit where God's people once ruled. See? They got you looking one way for an Antichrist, and they're doing everything right in front of our faces. Satan's children. And that leads me to my broadcast. Hit the like button. Moloch, no children are safe. What is it we have before you, brothers and sisters? The Bible identifies this, and this is one way of recognizing what? The religion of ancient Moloch. See, because Christians aren't teaching the Bible and Muslims aren't teaching the truth concerning God's word, the people are deceived. What are we looking at here? We're looking at what appears to be ritualistic symbols. Witches and warlocks use these symbols. The Bible calls it in the New Testament, Star of Remphan. In the Old Testament, this one in particular right here. Let me show you. This one in particular right here to your right is the Star of Moloch. So when the Bible says that man of sin must be revealed, we must understand the symbol that's attached to the ideology and the religion of Baal, and what people in the earth are upholding these secret rituals and rites. See, the Bible tells us that at the very end, that Christ wouldn't come unless we reveal them before the world. Well, they don't care if people know now. They've consolidated full power, have entrenched themselves in every area of authority, so that no one in the earth can truly oppose them. So they don't care if you know right now, because they're in full power under Satan. They don't care if you know. But we're going to reveal it anyway. So to do what? So to protect ourselves from their ideology and religion, and use Christ in the true name of God to pray against them. What are we looking at here? Well, let's go back. Let's go back, if you will.
My next guest was used also in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals and cannibalism. She says her family has been involved in rituals for generations. She is currently in extensive therapy, suffers from multiple personality disorder, meaning she's blocked out many of the terrifying and painful memories of her childhood. Meet Rachel, who is also in disguise to protect her identity. You come from generations of ritualistic abuse?
Yes, my family has an extensive family tree, and they keep track of who's been involved and who hasn't been involved. And it's gone back to like 1700.
And so you were
Right.
Maybe.
I was born into a family that believes in this.
And does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl.
Definitely.
And you all are worshiping the devil inside the home?
Right. There's other Jewish families across the country. It's not just my own family.
Really? And so who knows about it? Lots of people now.
I talked to a police detective in the Chicago area, and several of my friends know, and I've spoke publicly before. And
so when you were brought up in this kind of evilness, did you just think it was normal?
I've blocked out a lot of the memories I had because of my multiple personality disorder. But yes, I mean, it's like if you grow up with something, you think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought
So what kinds of things? You don't have to give us the gory details, but what kinds of things went on in the family?
Well, there would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to, you know...
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in their family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not, or they would supposedly go away for a while and then come back.
So you witnessed the sacrifice?
Right. When I was very young, I was forced to participate in that, in which I had to sacrifice an infant.
And the purpose of sacrifice is to what? Is to bring you what? What are you sacrificing for?
For power.
Uh-huh. Power.
Let's go back. Let's go back, because Elder Lawyer, they've been hiding their religion, their religious practices in plain sight. In plain sight. In plain sight, through Hollywood and others, letting us know exactly what they were about the whole time. Baal worship, the sacrifice. Now, let me show you this. You see that? Look at that bull in the middle. Well, in ancient times, brothers and sisters, the Most High warned our people not to deal with this religion and ideology, where grown people, pagans in particular, would bring babies to the altar to be burned before this god called Moloch. And when you see this symbol, know that there's some mishandling of children somewhere. Okay? When you see this right here, this bull, what does it relate to? Well, folks, they've been putting this out there in plain sight. Fair use. Here's a movie. A series coming called The Winter King. Fair use. Fair use. Fair use. This symbol right here is currently used in the earth for secret rites and rituals towards what? Child sacrifice. Ever so often we hear the thing about Epstein and others, Pizzagate, and how there's some political connection between these high elites and young children. When the earthquake happened over in Haiti, parents were complaining about children that were being taken in the cover of night. We're looking at what's going on with Maui, and everyone is talking about where the children and others. Right? Fair use. What are they doing in plain sight? Well, check out this particular trailer for The Winter King. Fair use. For educational uses only.
Darkness is coming.
They said what? Darkness is coming.
Darkness is coming. The Saxons will take the Isle. Come home, Arthur. Only you can save Britain.
Only you can save Britain. Look at this, brothers and sisters, before your, right in front of your face.
I'm my own man. No family, no country. You truly are my bastard.
The gods, they have a plan for you.
The gods have a plan for you. Brothers and sisters, look at this right here. This is our brother, This is our brother, like the priests were during the time the Most High began to what? Curse the priesthood for turning to Moloch. Look at this. Look at this. In plain sight, right in our face. The gods have a plan for you. Right in our face.
The gods, they have a plan for you.
Bring the country together.
What did we just witness? What is Hollywood showing us? Right in our faces. What are they showing us? Huh? Hold up, I'm not done. I'm not done. Hold up now. Caribbean Queen. One of the best songs, I love this song growing up. This is one of those 80s hits. Caribbean Queen. What I'm going to do is, from the 2-minute mark, fair use, Billy Ocean, Caribbean Queen. Look at this here. What are we looking at? What are we looking at? Live on stage, Caribbean Queen. And look, when it starts off at a pyramid where they're prepping a girl for sacrifice. Pyramid.
Area is centered around giant stone pyramids painted red, with stairs running up the center. Huge crowds gather around these pyramids, chanting and dancing in unison. Jaguar sees the fear and knowing in the eyes of the sacrificed victim, and the prisoners are led up to the top of the pyramid, where a group of religious officials are gathered to address the crowd. The high priest calls out to the people, explaining how a plague has befallen the city, and how it struck down the people and made them appear weak. But they're not weak, and to prove it, they're going to offer up some sacrifices to their great god. The people are cheering. The first sacrifice is horrific. They drag one of the prisoners onto the podium, lay him out flat, and cut him open while he's alive. They tear his insides out and offer them to their god as a sacrifice before beheading him.
These occultists are speaking to everyone through their productions. At the bottom of the pyramid, they got a girl with the flowers around her head, a lay, preparing her.
She's simply awesome. She dashed by me in painted on jeans.
Look, there go the pyramid.
And all head turned.
There go the pyramid. Let's go look at it again. There go the pyramid. Getting all dressed and ready for the priest. Now the priest is at what? At the altar. At the altar of Baal for Moloch sacrifice. Listen, I got the music turned off because sometimes the music hypnotizes us. It misdirects us from what we're actually witnessing. That's an altar, folks. And the people are being pulled around on a string like puppets while sacrifice ensues. Who's knocking on the door? A child. Do y'all see this? Have you ever seen this before? Going back. Let's go back again. Fair use. Fair use.
The gods, they have a plan for you.
A brother as a priest before what? Moloch. What is Moloch related to? The star of Remphan or Moloch. The ancient religion that's connected to child sacrifice. An ancient Canaanite religion that the pagans and the witches and all that, even though they have changed it up a little bit, folks, oh yeah, and I'm going to be going into this. Oh yeah, huh? A rabbi by the name of Yair Davidi lives in Israel. That's him right there. I have more books on Esau, identifying who's Esau. But in this, it connects Germany and Edom, Hitler and all these others. And a rabbi speaks about the historical connection between the ancient rituals of Canaanites and modern day so-called Europeans. A lot happened in World War I and II that they didn't tell you all, but I can't talk about it here. But it's way deeper than you think when it comes to sacrifice. Germany and Edom.
Hitler himself talks of suicide. Then Hitler reportedly meets famed astrologer Erich Jan Hanussen. Hanussen makes an unlikely prediction. In 30 days, a turning point, perhaps even power.
Well, this is impossible. In December of 1932, Hitler had no hope of gaining this type of power.
Hanussen suggests there is a tool to help Hitler realize his goal, a good luck charm.
Hanussen tells Hitler that he must go back to the town where he was born and find a mandrake root.
A mandrake is a man-shaped root said by European occultists to possess powerful medicinal properties. According to author Peter Levenda, Hitler asked Hanussen to find the root. Hanussen travels to Hitler's hometown and digs up a mandrake from a butcher's backyard. On New Year's Day, 1933, Hanussen presents the charm to Hitler. According to Professor Nicholas Goodrick Clark, this is Hitler's mandrake.
That Hitler had even received such an object and was prepared to accept it suggests some remarkable susceptibility to superstition or occult power at this time.
This Vienna newspaper shows Hitler with the mandrake. From a wire around its neck hung a capsule.
And in this capsule were some verses that Hanussen had allegedly written describing a league or bond between himself, the mandrake, and Hitler. These verses described that Hitler would have unlimited power and good fortune so long as he held true to this bond or league between himself and Hanussen and the mandrake.
Hitler's luck changes.
Within 30 days, because of a series of political negotiations that are taking place behind the scene, suddenly Hitler finds himself Chancellor of Germany on January 30th, 1933. Hanussen's prediction, an impossibly optimistic prediction, comes true to the day.
Whether Hanussen read the future or had an inside tip, no one can say.
Edom picked up a new religion from the Canaanite god when he went to Mount Seir. Right? He was upset that the Most High blessed our family, Jacob, and turned to Satan and took on the Canaanite religion and became the Shashu. And this is where they found the word, the tetragrammaton Yahweh, who's Satan himself, and promotes him above Ahiah. It's all connected, folks. Esau, Canaanite, and child sacrifice.
I have a guest by the name of Rabbi A.B. Finkelstein. He's off the east coast of the United States, who's going to be joining me tonight. Rabbi A.B. Finkelstein, as I said, a rabbi off the east coast of the United States. Are you there with me tonight?
Shalom, I am here.
There's a lot of rumors and conjecture that's taking place across this country relating to the Jewish population, okay?
Okay.
The masses have a hard time believing anything.
Well, we've done a great brainwashing job on them over the centuries, and especially the last few hundred years. We've just brainwashed them completely. They believe anything we tell them. And, in the meantime, we have a lot of fun around Passover where we steal the children. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country, and we drain the blood and we mix it with the Passover bread, and then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own, and we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets, and the people, they eat them for breakfast, they eat their children for lunch, and, as Jews, we gotta do what we do. It's over for you white race. So that's why I'm speaking so honestly here, to bring it out into the open so that you can see it for what it is. You've been teaching the people real good, but they don't wake up, do they? Because you know why? They're scared of us Jews, because they don't want to be called anti-Semites, and they believe that we're the chosen people, and so that's why we can do whatever we want to do, and we can get away with it. We make a lot of money off your children from cradle to grave. All we do is make money off of them. Your cattle, your goyim, the human cattle. Mazel tov.
Well, that's very interesting. I understand that, but I also know the bloodletting. I know that on your Passover, which isn't mine, that a lot of little children do disappear, and I do know that, and I know a lot of police departments and agencies have been informed, but you're very open. You're very open tonight. I'm very surprised that you're talking about the bloodletting of the little children, that you put their blood in the matzah balls, and that you eat it on sacrifice on Passover.
Well, there was a goyim that wrote a book about it back in the 30s. I forget his name at the moment. But anyway, he wrote the book. People didn't buy the book. People don't want to listen. We've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years.
Don't listen too good, but you're a damn good cop.
That's it. I've seen it. I've seen it happening. They've got to tell people.
Tell them what?
The ocean's dying. The plankton's dying. It's people. Soylent Green is made out of people.
The discovery of horse meat disguised as beef in burgers and lasagnas has kicked off a crisis. Emergency summits have been convened in the UK and France, and the race is on to find the source of what one British minister called an international criminal conspiracy.
At supermarkets like this one, up and down the country, consumers are thinking twice about what they buy. Products now known to contain horse meat have been taken off the shelves. But, as we await further DNA tests, no one can be sure what's in their food.
I need y'all to look at this. Look at the screen now. Look at the screen. Interesting. Interesting. Elder Lawyer, I put all this together. So you can give commentary later. I already put it together. This is an article, Elder Lawyer, that we used in the academy years ago. 2013, actually. October 3rd, 2013. From the Smithsonian Magazine. Why was Benjamin Franklin's basement filled with skeletons? so-called founding fathers and those who came here from England. Y'all didn't know that this guy was a decorated member of the Hellfires Club? Yeah. We do the research on the Hellfires Club. It's a secret occult club linked directly to Canaanite religion, Baal worship.
Being featured in Stranger Things on Netflix, the Hellfire Club has recently stepped into the spotlight. But did you know the origins of the real Hellfire Club stretch back to 1700s England, where rituals, sacrifices and even devil worship occurred here, in what is today known as the Hellfire Caves? Tonight, we'll venture alone into the caves to investigate the many haunted reports of this terrifying location. A dirty secret lies deep below West Wickham, England, a place known as the Hellfire Caves. The sprawling tunnel system, once the meeting place for a club who indulged in parties, perverted sex acts, rituals, sacrifices, and even satanic worship.
So they originally dug out in 1748 to build the road between West Wickham and High Wycombe. Nothing of the spooky or any stuff happened till much later in 1755, when the Hellfire Club was originated. It was made by Sir Francis Dashwood, the second Baron of High Wycombe, and it was used as a gentleman's club. I like to describe it as very powerful people doing things that they didn't do in the public eye, which hasn't much changed to today, but it was used as drink, drugs, sex, all of what you could imagine would be done in sort of your modern day, I guess, nightclub, I suppose. A lot of darker stuff did happen. Satanism, sacrifice often came into play, but unfortunately, because one of the members, Paul Whitehead, he did burn all of the records when he died in 1774. We don't know much about what happened. They did have the largest collection known of written pornography at the time, but also said that they did have the largest collection of Satanists and sort of books.
The mysterious past activities of the Hellfire Club seem to have left something behind in the caves, with many to enter witnessing strange and terrifying entities. The most common of these is a figure cloaked all in black, who some believe could be the devil himself. Others have seen children, a woman wearing white who met an unfortunate end to her life in the caves, or even a man in search of his stolen heart. They've seen unexplainable light anomalies, shadows, heard screams of pain, giggling, maniacal laughter, babies crying, footsteps, and most commonly, evil growls. Others have even claimed to be touched or overcome with a dizzying sensation, especially while entering the deepest part of the Hellfire Caves, known as the Inner Temple. This spot was built to symbolise hell, lying directly beneath the church above it, and was where the Hellfire Club performed many of their secret and dark rituals. Tonight, we will explore the Hellfire Caves and reach out to the entities who continue to inhabit them, documenting the entire investigation onto video.
Repairs on Franklin's old London house turned up 1,200 pieces of bone from at least 15 people. Now, if he did this over there in England, I wonder what he did when he came to America. But I digress. For nearly 2 decades leading up to the signing of the Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Franklin lived in London in a house at 36 Craven Street. In 1776, Franklin left his English home to come back to America. More than 200 years later, 15 bodies were found in the basement, buried in a secret windowless room beneath the garden. Folks, but guess what? I want y'all to see something real quick. Look at this. See? 666. 6 of the bodies found were children. And I also have other things that I want to go into that I can't talk about right here. I'm letting you know the bare minimum. Right now, believe it or not, I'm dealing with the bare minimum. These are people who've shaped our legislation. people in high positions, high academia. So we're not talking about some unintelligent people here. We're not talking about just some rogue masochist or people that are just dealing with, I would say, type of sociopathic type of mentalities. Okay? We're talking about normal people on the surface who deal in private ritualistic sacrifice. But a lot of us, brothers and sisters, we dare to want to actually understand that this exists. We don't even want to know that there's people out here who does this. And I believe that's part of the issue.
Many of these witnesses describe hunting parties where children were allowed to run in the forest and then hunted down like animals. These adrenaline-pumping events are said to be a favorite of the psychopathic elite. Abuse survivors Kathy O'Brien, Fiona Barnett, and Paul Benassi all have described similar hunting parties, known to the elite as the most dangerous game.
It was early evening when they played Most Dangerous Game. I was stripped of my clothing. I was allowed to wear tennis shoes and told that I could have a head start and begin running before I would be hunted down. My exposure to it resulted in my believing I had no place to run and no place to hide. It seemed there were no limits to what could happen in my existence at that time. It was the most extreme, one of the most extreme situations I think I ever survived.
One investigator remarked that it was like something out of the Middle Ages.
Celia Farber points out how the mass media tradition of obsessing over the deaths of celebrities has been absent since 2021 as a clear tactic to deflect mass death by COVID shots. And the death of Anne Heche marks a return to this mainstream media tradition. And the whole story is very strange. Just before the crash, Heche visited the Glass Hair Design Salon in Venice and purchased a red wig, where she posed for a picture with the salon's owner, who did not notice her to be impaired in any way. Minutes later, Heche crashed into an apartment complex where residents tried helping her out of the vehicle before the car was put in reverse and sped off. Videos then show her car recklessly speeding down a residential street and nearly hitting a pedestrian. She then hits a car before finally crashing the Mini Cooper into a house where it bursts into flames. But this is where the story gets really strange. While being carried to the ambulance, we see that her legs are secured, and she is covered in what looks like a cloth body bag. We are told that she couldn't breathe, and yet they covered her face. And the reason these details were noticed is because we see her become fully conscious while frantically trying to escape the body bag and leg straps. Nothing was reported about this, and Heche's former boyfriend said that Anne was stable and expected to pull through. But then we are told she is in a coma, and then we are told that while her heart is still beating, she's legally dead according to California law. But she will be kept on life support for possible organ donation. And then, right in the middle of the ancient 3-day festival to honor the goddess Diana, known as Nemoralia, they pull the plug on Anne Heche and let her die. This is quite similar to what happened in Paris 25 years ago on the satanic inverted Nemoralia, August 31st, when Princess Diana was looked after as she bled to death in a tunnel dedicated to the goddess Diana. Many believe that Princess Diana was about to expose the royal family, and Anne Heche, who recently starred in a movie exposing chemtrails, was currently promoting her most recent film that was exposing the horrors of child sex trafficking. Child sex trafficking, along with all human trafficking, is the biggest business in the world. The slavery business is at an all-time high, and the thugs who run it are known for their satanic rituals. Ritual murders have always been, at a base level, a form of crowd control. The Anne Heche story has caused many to look back into the mysterious death of Michael Hastings. Journalist Michael Hastings had just published a story for Rolling Stone that resulted in the resignation of commander of U.S. forces in Afghanistan, and was working on a story of CIA Director John Brennan. The day before he died, Hastings emailed friends to warn them that the feds were interviewing his close friends and associates, and told them he was onto a big story and needed to go off the radar for a bit. Early the next morning, Hastings' silver Mercedes hit a palm tree and exploded, somehow launching the engine block 60 yards away from the car. Former counterterrorism czar Richard Clarke told the Huffington Post that Hastings' crash was consistent with a car cyber attack, and that intelligence agencies for major powers are able to remotely seize control of a person's vehicle. He added that if there was a cyber attack on Hastings' car, whoever did it would probably get away with it. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
I believe it's part of the issue, folks. That because we don't believe it's happening or could happen, it continues without any pushback.
Where are we?
Well, I'm here to help you understand that this is ritualistic. It isn't going away. And they have expanded their rituals and have included the world in their rituals.
To some frightening video from right here in New York City. It shows a man trying to abduct a child, but fortunately he didn't get far. Watch as a grandmother of 3 small children walk into frame to the left of your screen. A man covered in a blanket approaches, suddenly swoops down, yanks the young girl from her grandmother's grasp and runs. Frantically, the grandmother chases him. Don't worry, they were good Samaritans. They went after the man, eventually set the girl free. The suspect got away initially, but was later caught and arrested.
Stay over there.
There's 75.
Wait, I thought it was
75.
You don't listen anymore. Do you understand?
She's only 12. She's 12. She's...
You better stop praying to God right now, because you're dealing with the devil. I own you. Every bit of you.
You own me.
Now, do you love your little sister? Do you want to see her get hurt?
No, please.
All right, then you will do everything I say.
Okay.
Right? Now let me go to the next thing because I have to move this along. The conversation. How the Satanic Temple is using deletion rituals. Y'all see it, deletion rituals of children to claim religious liberty against Texas heartbeat bill. See these crazies? These satanic pagans you see here? These people are usually hired to drive any initiatives in the earth. You may see these similar pictures with these weirdos right here. Okay? but they're part of an orchestrated cabal under Satan. The Satanic Temple is using deletion rituals to claim religious liberty against the Texas Heartbeat Bill, September 22nd. None of us are tying two and two together and asking ourselves, what is this? When it comes to legally being able to make your choice, is it a choice in of itself, or is it connected to some ancient ritual? And what are the consequences for sacrificing? We're going to talk about that.
Well, I went down to the Supreme Court and I took back what they stole from me.
The Supreme Court has left us in the dark. Planned Parenthood is going cross-country to shine a light on our rights.
We're going to talk about that. Let me go along here. Here we go. Here we go, Elder Lawyer. We're about to get into the meat of it now. Hit the like button.
The gods, they have a plan for you.
MOLOCH. The gods have a plan for you. Caribbean Queen. Huh? MOLOCH. Introduced before the world. Showing a preparation of a ritual under a pyramid before the fire. They've been putting this stuff in our faces for a long, long, long time. So let's figure out what's really going on. Let's tie it all together. Under the National Catholic Register. Under the National Catholic Register, child sacrifice is an ancient and shameful tradition. There it goes, folks. So the Catholics know about this. But how do they get the world to participate in sacrificing or giving up their own children to the elite to be sacrificed? Because folks, when you think about sacrifice, Elder Lawyer, they don't understand this. Sometimes they think about just children dying. That's just one piece of it. Well, another piece that people don't understand, Elder Lawyer, is that they need what? They need people to replenish the priesthood.
Good morning. So just how good are the boys
right?
in the choir
So
at St. Paul's Choir School?
Eventually their priests and priestesses die off.
And listening to these young men
so some of these children aren't given to be sacrificed. They're trained to replace the priests and priestesses to keep the sacrifices going. So through some of these elite parties and all these things, allegedly, when they have these debaucherous, eyes wide shut parties in masks and robes, well, if a baby is produced from that,
and these boys have plenty
who
of
knows?
to sing.
Where did that baby go?
From the rehearsal
Where does that baby go?
Music bellows through the Cambridge, Massachusetts middle school.
Do they train the baby to one day replenish the priesthood? Is the Canaanite Moloch priesthood thriving? Thriving to a degree where it's on such a level. Ancient Babylon, ancient Canaan have nothing on this.
Who do you think those people were? Those were not just ordinary people there. If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
Broken baby doll heads and torn limbs scattered across tables. Mannequins arranged to look like corpses. And the host wearing a menacing horned mask. No, this isn't some weird horror movie. These are actual photos taken at an Illuminati ball held by none other than the Rothschilds. The leaked pictures depict a scene eerily similar to Stanley Kubrick's 1999 movie Eyes Wide Shut. Had Kubrick himself been a witness to these elite mansion parties? Kubrick died just days after showing his film to the studio, and many believe he was killed for his daring expose. And what was in the mysterious 24 minutes the studio cut from the film after his death?
And he died a day after refusing to cut 24 minutes of it. Well, they cut it. You better believe they cut out of this film.
From ancient Luciferian rituals to cannibalism and human sacrifice, what really goes on at these elite mansion parties? Brace yourselves as we enter the real Eyes Wide Shut. The aberrant perversions of the powerful so-called elite had always been a recurring theme for Kubrick, but he took it one step further in what would end up being his final film, Eyes Wide Shut, which depicted a masked ball identical to one the Rothschilds had thrown years earlier. The year was 1972, and the Rothschild mansion outside of Paris looked like it was in flames. Huge flickering orange lights projected a fiery inferno across the main edifice. It was all part of the preparation for a masked ball they were hosting, and the guest list read like a who's who of the Illuminati. Artists, fashion designers, celebrities, and royalty were greeted by men in cat masks who guided them to the main room, where Marie Helen de Rothschild waited, wearing an elaborate deer head mask with ornate horns jutting from the top. Horned masks have historically been part of ancient pagan rituals. The invites were written backwards and required a mirror to read, reflecting Satanist Aleister Crowley's edict to do everything backwards. Creepy photos taken from the event have surfaced which show their bizarre costumes and questionable decoration. Baby dolls strewn on tables as part of the decor, demonstrating their hatred for humanity. Audrey Hepburn and another attendee wore birdcage masks, signifying MK Ultra mind control. Perhaps the weirdest picture is of men gathered around a nude female effigy, laid out on what looks to be some type of sacrificial altar. Notice the similarities to Marina Abramovic's cannibalistic cake parties, attended by the Hollywood elite, and scenes from music videos, such as Katy Perry's creepy Bon Appetit. One rumor even suggested the female body was made of sugar and was actually edible. The menu from this strange event also hints at a cannibalistic undertone. Sirloin, for instance, is spelled out sirloin, like it is a person's name. And another menu item refers to an exquisite cadaver. When Cruise's character is discovered as an imposter, the man in the red cloak is sitting on a chair with a double eagle on it. The double eagle is the symbol of the Rothschild family and is found on their crest. Kubrick even filmed the salacious scenes inside an actual Rothschild mansion. But the film isn't the movie Kubrick wanted audiences to see. The studio demanded 24 minutes of the original be cut. Much speculation has been made about what might have been in that 24 minutes. Officially, Warner Brothers claimed that editing was necessary in order to obtain an R rating. This explanation doesn't make sense, however, given such a significant portion of a final cut film. 24 minutes is more than random clips. It's more likely that an entire scene was removed. A scene that could have been the climax of the entire movie. One that made all others make sense. After all, it was important enough that Kubrick refused to remove it.
I got a call, and he claimed to be one of Kubrick's top assistants before he died. In other words, he was there all the way to the end.
Wow, this is getting good.
And he told me Kubrick kept muttering to himself that the Warner Brothers executives were going to hate his film.
What else did Kubrick show in those 24 minutes? Everyone in the crew signed lengthy contracts and strict confidentiality agreements, so almost no verifiable information is available. However, most rumors contend that it had something to do with the shocking Illuminati mansion party. This type of event actually dates back to ancient times, such as the Greek and Roman Bacchanalia festival, which involved masked orgies as part of the invocation of pagan gods. The old-moneyed European aristocrats have been secretly attending such events for hundreds of years. In fact, Traum Novelle, the story from which Kubrick based the screenplay, was about a couple who experiences a similar party in upper-class Austria around the turn of the century. Austria is near the Bavarian region of Germany, where the original Bavarian Illuminati was founded. Alice is seduced by a hypnotic older gentleman who introduces himself as Sandor Savost, which many believe to be a reference to Anton Sandor LaVey, founder and high priest of the Church of Satan. One of the mysterious women who leads Bill off introduces herself as Nawala Windsor.
Do you know Nawala Windsor?
Alluding to British royalty and their association with the Cabal. One mask in particular is said to bear a resemblance to Bob Hope, who has been named by whistleblowers as an MK Ultra handler.
Before today, you refrain from naming names. Would you like to tell us who was involved in these various activities that you've described before?
Yes, I would, Ted. It's real scary for me, but I'd like to go on public record saying that my owner under mind control was Bob Hope, and that I was abused and used as a mind control sex slave.
Most believe Harford saw something profoundly disturbing at the ritual, perhaps a literal sacrifice or other such bizarre type material. Still, others speculate Kubrick may have exposed the satanic elite's use of children in their bizarre rituals as well. Elite child trafficking rings have come to light in Belgium, the UK, the US, and other countries, proving there's a much more sinister side to these secret parties. Was this what Kubrick was really trying to warn us about? He had already alluded to this theme when Bill goes to the costume shop and encounters a father prostituting his underage daughter. The name of the costume shop is Rainbow Fashions. Rainbows, rainbow symbolism, and Wizard of Oz themes are all related to MK Ultra mind control.
Don't you want to go where the rainbow ends?
Well, and lending credence to this theory is a conversation which allegedly occurred between Nicole Kidman and the acclaimed filmmaker Stanley Kubrick. Kidman claims Kubrick told her pedophiles are running the world, going on to say he told her how the world really works and who is in charge behind the scenes while filming the movie Eyes Wide Shut. If this is what Kubrick exposed in those 24 minutes, no wonder he ended up dead. However, Nicole was never as naive to this sordid world as she may have acted. Her father, Anthony Kidman, was a high-level Luciferian himself, a member of Aleister Crowley's notorious Ordo Templi Orientis, a group that engages in ritual sex magic and ancient pagan rites. He died mysteriously after an Australian named Fiona Barnett formally named him as one of her abusers.
Throughout my childhood, I was a victim of Australia's VIP child sex trafficking ring. For example, I was prostituted to pedophile parties at Parliament House, Canberra, and to an international leader at Fairbairn Military Airport. The people involved in this elite pedophile ring included high-ranking politicians, police and judiciary.
Kidman's stardom makes a lot more sense once we know about her elite connections. And it should come as no surprise that Kubrick cast her in the film Eyes Wide Shut. His use of a real-life couple at the time who was also connected to a real Illuminati family hints to the audience that this movie is not really fiction at all. With its otherworldly chanting, incense, and haunting masks, the bizarre satanic ritual is by far the most memorable scene from Eyes Wide Shut. For the first time ever, viewers were taken into the inner sanctum and shown the sex magic rituals of the Luciferian elite. But there is another scene in the movie that upon closer inspection becomes much more disturbing. At the end of the movie, Harford and his wife Alice take their daughter to a toy store, where the girl seems to go off following two older men. Close observers have noted that these are the same two men seen at the elite Christmas party from the beginning of the movie. No doubt this was deliberate on Kubrick's part. Cruise and Kidman's characters seem oblivious to where their daughter is going. Is it possible that they sold their daughter into this elite group? It is hard to believe, but this does happen among these circles. It is important to note that the toy store scene is saturated in occult imagery. From the stars everywhere in the background to a conspicuously placed board game called Magic Circle, which references the circle used in real black magic, like the circle seen at the ritual party. As they enter the toy store, the girl points out a black, antique-looking baby carriage. Yeah. Exactly like the iconic one used in the movie Rosemary's Baby, in which a couple sacrifices their firstborn to an upper-class satanic cult in order to advance their status. Also notice the stuffed tigers in the foreground as the girl walks towards the two men. This is the same stuffed tiger found on the bed of the prostitute Bill sees earlier in the movie. The choice of a tiger as the stuffed animal is an obvious reference to MK Beta programming, also known as sex kitten programming, which begins at a young age. Nothing on camera in a movie like this is happenstance. Everything is meticulously chosen and positioned, especially with a Kubrick film. For those with eyes that are wide open, the signs are clear. The Harfords never really escaped the cult, and their daughter is being led like a lamb to slaughter into its arms. Few filmmakers sparked more fascination or intrigue than Stanley Kubrick. Known for his controversial films and unique vision, Kubrick forever changed filmmaking, but his films were much more than visual masterpieces. They used hidden messages and meanings to reveal secret truths about our world and those who run it. In Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick revealed some of the darkest secrets of the Luciferian elite, from MK and human trafficking to real-life Illuminati rituals. But revealing such secrets is a dangerous game, one that for Kubrick may have proven deadly.
Michael Dre leads the parish. 5 years ago, he made it his mission to upgrade the school's music program.
How have they industrialized child sacrifice?
We are a choir with a school attached.
MOLOCH,
as opposed to
aka
that has a choir.
Milcom, was an ancient Canaanite deity associated with child sacrifice. The name is derived from the Hebrew word Malak, right? Malcolm, which means king. The name was also given to Malak, that means king. The name is also given to another minor deity in the same geographic region. Rabbinical sources depicted Moloch as an enormous bronze statue. Right? Now, what does our God say about this, Elder Lawyer, before I show the rest of what we have here? If you will, Elder Lawyer, what does our God say about this? Elder Lawyer, let's go to Deuteronomy 18, verse 10. Deuteronomy 18.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse number 10.
Read it for me, please.
There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch.
Or an enchanter or a witch. Go on.
Or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer.
A wizard, a necromancer, those who deal with mediums between this world and the invisible world, they're all connected. They're connected to the fallen gods. And the fallen gods whispers and speaks to these mediums and tell them, yes, I'll give you this in return for the child. So this is what empowers these witches and warlocks. And folks, and there's a connection between these witches and warlocks and these institutions that lead to the deletion of children.
Friends, I pray, sir, you gotta repent, sir. You gotta repent, sir, for murdering babies.
Why?
Because it's a sin before God.
Why?
Wow.
Stinky breath.
Yeah,
Why?
that's pretty evil of you, sir.
Yeah, I am.
And I hope and pray that you.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you do to babies, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
You love it, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I hope that you come to Christ, sir.
Oh, I never go to Christ.
I hope that you come to Christ,
no,
sir.
No, I don't go to Christ.
Yeah,
I don't listen to Christ.
You will have a darkened heart, sir.
I do have a darkened heart. Yeah.
You have a darkened heart.
I do very, very much
and
so.
you will stand before God in judgment day.
Yes, I will. Every day.
You will stand before God in judgment day.
Yes, I will. Every day.
All of the babies that you have killed.
I love it.
Yeah, keep tearing the babies apart.
Yeah, I will.
Keep tearing the babies
apart.
I will. Keep tearing the babies apart.
Oh.
Yeah, sir. The babies, their blood screams from the ground.
It's an exchange. Right? It's an exchange. Now, what so happened when you go to Genesis 36 here, and we went into this, you have to get into the academy if you want the full lesson, because we can't break this down on a small podcast, okay? To the fullest. But Esau in Genesis 36 end up going to Mount Seir. Right? And when you read this, it tells us what? Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. So Esau went and mixed his blood with the Canaanites. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan. So the Edomites, under modern day religions they have set up after conquering the earth, Rome in particular, have secretly set up their ancient pagan Canaanite rituals and rites under the auspices or the guise of claiming that they're following the Bible. This is why their holidays have nothing to do with our Bible. Think about this. It all goes back to here. This is where they chose Satan, Jovi, Yahweh, the God of the Shashu, as their God, to oppose the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Ahiah. Are you following me here? Now, let's go. There's more. There's more. Elder Lawyer, if you will. Let's go to Jeremiah 19. Jeremiah 19, Elder Lawyer. So now we understand witchcraft and all that. Witches, warlocks, those who deal with crystals and call themselves spiritualists, guess what, folks? They're mediums between the other world, the fallen gods, and this world. They're mediums. And all in all, by these priests and priestesses doing these actions, folks, it's no coincidence that there's no children safe, because they're not telling you, they won't tell you that it's required. Somehow children have to suffer in order for them, these priests and priestesses, in order for them to get or be empowered. That's just the Canaanite way. I'm going to show you how they've done it. Elder Way, let's go to Jeremiah 19:4. 19:4 through 6. Let's read this.
Yes, sir. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 19, verse 4.
Come on.
Because they have forsaken me and have estranged this place and have burned incense in it unto other gods, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, nor the kings of Judah, and have filled this place with the blood of innocence.
The what?
With the blood of innocence.
With the blood of innocence. And that's why I pulled it out where the Satanists say that to delete children is a what? A constitutional right. Okay, that's what they said. It's our right to practice religion. You cannot go against our rights in a country that says you have freedom of religion. Let us continue to have our children. I know I'm pushing the envelope here, but I believe you all understand where we're going at here. Read the 5th verse. They have built what?
Yes, sir. They have built also the high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal.
Unto Baal, read.
Which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind.
Neither came it into my mind. The Most High was angry because what? Our priest, our people began to follow the priesthood of the Gentiles.
Baal was the name of the god who was worshipped throughout Canaan and Phoenicia in ancient times. During the Judges period, the practice of Baal worship entered Jewish religious life. Judges chapter 3, verse 7. The Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. They forgot the Lord their God, and served the Baals and the Asherahs. The practice of Baal worship became widespread in Israel during the reign of Ahab. 1 Kings chapter 16, verses 31 through 33. And as though it were not enough to follow the sinful example of Jeroboam, he married Jezebel, the daughter of King Ethbaal of the Sidonians, and he began to bow down in worship of Baal. First, Ahab built a temple and an altar for Baal in Samaria. Then he set up an Asherah pole. He did more to provoke the anger of the Lord, the God of Israel, than any of the other kings of Israel before him. And the practice of Baal worship also affected Judah. 2 Chronicles chapter 28, verses 1 through 4. Ahaz was 20 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 16 years. Unlike David his father, he did not do what was right in the eyes of the Lord. He followed the ways of the kings of Israel, and also made idols for worshiping the Baals. He burned sacrifices in the valley of Ben Hinnom, and sacrificed his children in the fire, engaging in the detestable practices of the nations the Lord had driven out before the Israelites. He offered sacrifices and burned incense at the high places, on the hilltops, and under every spreading tree. The plural of the word Baal is Baalim, which means Lord. Baal was a fertility god who was thought to help the earth produce crops and people produce offspring in general. Various parts worshipped Baal in different methods, and Baal proved to be a highly universal god. Various locales highlighted one or another of his attributes and designed special sects of Baalism. Baal of Peor, as we see in Numbers chapter 25, verse 3, and Baal Berith, as we see in Judges chapter 8, verse 33, are two examples of such localized deities. Numbers chapter 25, verse 3. In this way, Israel joined in the worship of Baal of Peor, causing the Lord's anger to blaze against his people. Judges chapter 8, verse 33. No sooner had Gideon died than the Israelites again prostituted themselves to the Baals. They set up Baal Berith as their god. The word Baal appears infrequently in the Old Testament as a personal name. The word's etymology shows that Baal was considered as the owner of a certain location, thereby limiting its use to individuals who were no longer nomads but had settled down. These local Baals were thought to be in charge of agriculture, creatures, and humanity's fertility. It was crucial to win their favor, especially in a place like Pal, where there are few natural streams or springs, and rainfall is unpredictable. This led to the adoption of extreme forms in the cultus, including the practice of ritual prostitution and child sacrifice. Judges chapter 2, verse 17. Yet they would not listen to their judges, but they played the harlot with other gods and bowed down to them. They turned quickly from the way in which their fathers walked, in obeying the commandments of the Lord. They did not do so. Amos chapter 10, verse 7. They pant after the dust of the earth, which is on the head of the poor, and pervert the way of the humble. A man and his father go into the same girl to defile my holy name. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 9. Will you steal, murder, commit adultery, swear falsely, burn incense to Baal, and walk after other gods whom you do not know? The most meaningful use of the title in the Old Testament is its reference to the great active god of the Canaanite pantheon, an equation with Hadad, the Amorite god, whose nature and functions were almost identical seems clear. Baal eventually ascended to the position of preeminent deity in the region. Part of this process, according to some researchers, can be traced back to the Ugaritic scriptures. Baal is identified as the son of Dagon, another Amorite deity, possibly a vegetation or grain god, rather than El, who was undoubtedly the original head of the Canaanite gods. At Ras Shamra, the ancient Ugarit site, temples to Baal and Dagon have been uncovered, but none devoted to El himself. Baal is depicted in the scriptures wearing a helmet, embellished with a bull's horns, a symbol of strength and fertility. He holds a club or mace in one hand, probably representing thunder, and a spear adorned with leaves in the other, possibly representing both lightning and vegetation. In Aramaean sculptures, Baal is depicted riding a bull, which may be related to Aaron and Jeroboam I's calf images, which were most likely used as pedestals for the invisible Yahweh. Anath, referred to euphemistically as the Virgin Anath, was Baal's spouse and sister, and shared many of his escapades. There is evidence that Baal and other Canaanite deities were worshipped in Egypt, but without becoming a serious threat to the native Egyptian religion. Baal was considered the most powerful of all gods, eclipsing El, who was seen as rather weak and ineffective. In various battles, Baal defeated Yam, the god of the sea, and Mot, the god of death and the underworld. Baal's sisters, or consorts, were Ashtoreth, a fertility goddess associated with the stars, and Anath, a goddess of love and war. The Canaanites worshipped Baal as the sun god and as the storm god. He is usually depicted holding a lightning bolt, who defeated enemies and produced crops. They also worshipped him as a fertility god who provided children. Baal worship was rooted in sensuality and involved ritualistic prostitution in the temples. At times, appeasing Baal required human sacrifice, usually the firstborn of the one making the sacrifice. Jeremiah chapter 19, verse 5, KJV. They have built also the high places of Baal, to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind. Baal's priests worshipped their deity with riotous rites that featured ecstatic shouts and self-inflicted harm. 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 28. So the prophets prayed louder and cut themselves with knives and daggers, according to their ritual, until blood flowed. Before the Hebrews entered the Promised Land, the Lord God forewarned against glorifying Canaan's gods, but Israel bent to idolism anyway. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 14 through 15, King James Version. Ye shall not go after other gods, of the gods of the people which are round about you. For the Lord thy God is a jealous God among you, lest the anger of the Lord thy God be kindled against thee, and destroy thee from off the face of the earth.
And for political favors, prestige, and power under the Gentiles, they were willing to give up our children. I'm going to show you some of this, some of the guarded things I can show you this evening.
Okay.
Yes. Now, my name is Annemarie van Blijenburg. I have been married for 24 years met Kees van Kordelaar. Kees van Kordelaar, together with his three brothers, form a criminal organization known as the Octopus Syndicate. They work from 1960 on till the day of today. In order of Queen Beatrix, they have organized torture, rape and killing of children in a public setting. They organized that through youth detention centers in the Netherlands. The youth detention centers were told that the criminals were asking for the Dutch court for children who could work with the Dutch Queen for a certain period. The detention centers were very happy. They thought that Queen Beatrix was a very social woman and they gladly volunteered in giving files of certain children to the criminals. When they wanted to verify what the criminals told them, they were given a name and a phone number of a high-ranking officer at the court of Queen Beatrix, and that high-ranking officer would state and tell them that indeed those criminals were seeking children to work for a certain period at the Dutch court. After receiving files of approximately 3 children every time, the criminals selected a child that had no relative or family. They told the youth detention center, child A is the one we want to see. The youth detention center bought clothes with the child so that it was well clothed to go to a solicitation conversation, and put the child on train to Zwolle. In Zwolle, the criminals fetched the child from the station, brought it to a building which was equipped as a hotel but was not working as a hotel, although there were people in the lobby doing as if the hotel was in work. The child was put on a table and were giving something to drink, and in that drink, with that drink, the child was drugged. Besides that hotel was a building where the performance should take place. In that building, the people were sat down, and at a certain moment, the child was brought into that building by the criminals, was tortured, raped, and brutally murdered before those people. The audience was around Johan Frieso, Prince Johan Frieso, the second son of Queen Beatrix. I was told that Johan Frieso was quite insane and had an unhealthy interest in young children, and had a steady psychiatrist every day of his life with him. And the psychiatrist's name was Guus Parot. The criminals organized those killings in accordance with Beatrix. Beatrix paid for it, paid for the killings, and Johan Frieso, the criminals asked Johan Frieso to bring his relatives or friends with him. And so the whole building was filled with very important people from the Netherlands, ministers, high-ranking officers, and all kinds of people that the criminals could put on photo, so they could blackmail those people and get criminal advantages from that.
Could you name some of the people who were present?
The people that I recognized there were, for instance, Prince Johan Frieso. I recognized Mabel Smith. She was there with an old, steady man. I think it was George Soros. I recognized Donner, former minister of the Law Department. At this moment, Viceroy of the Netherlands. I recognized Ernst Hirsch-Balling, a very important former Minister of Justice. I recognized A. van den Emster. He was for years the head of all judges in the Netherlands. I recognized Dick Berlijn, the former head of the military department in the Netherlands. I recognized a journalist, a very important journalist, Gerlof Leistra, of the journal De Elsevier. I recognized Carla Hieradis. At present, he is president of the court in Amsterdam, a judge. I recognized Mark Rutte. He's at this moment president of the Netherlands. I recognize Geert Wilders. He is at this moment the head of the political party PVV in the Dutch parliament. There were about 50 people every time I was taken there. I have been taken there 3 times. I have seen every time kill a child, a child was killed, and I have seen 2 boys killed. I have seen 1 girl killed. I presume those children were Netherlands children. I presume those children came from the detention centers of the Netherlands on the way and were recruited on the way that I've told.
They was willing to give up their own children. And folks, this is what led to the fall of Israel. When the children are no longer safe, the nation will soon cease to exist. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the one in Amos real quick. The star of Moloch.
Yes, sir. Amos 5 and 25.
Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel?
Read.
But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and Chayun, your images, the star of your God.
The what?
The star of your God.
The star of your God.
Which he made to yourselves.
Which he made to yourselves.
Here, in front of the mountain, we have the remains of what may have been that golden calf worship site.
Now behind me, in this fenced-in archaeological site that the Saudis are protecting, you see both a stand with many petroglyphs of cows and people worshiping cows, as well as a structure that is slightly lifted that may be the altar in front of the golden calf stand.
There's a sign in Arabic and English warning intruders against going into the area. The local tradition that this is where the golden calf was is so strong that if you approach it, you'll be suspected of searching for gold. According to the Bible, the worshippers of the golden calf say, "These are your gods, O Israel." This verse indicates that there are multiple depictions of bulls as the Israelites are worshiping the golden calf. On the top of the stand where the golden calf would have been placed, there is a circular indent where the rock has been worn down. It's speculated that this is where Moses grounded the golden calf into powder.
Folks, this star never had anything to do with King David. This is not the Star of David. This is not the Star of David. It's the Star of Moloch. It was later named David in our modern time under Megan David. Megan David. He's connected to the financial systems and all these others. I'll have a whole lesson on him. But it was recently named Megan David, the guy in Israel with the red door, Esau. But the Bible is describing this particular emblem, and it is describing what? The man of sin that must be revealed before Christ returns. When you see the symbol, you know prophetically who God is identifying in the Bible. So I asked to wonder, what type of system, what type of government would allow the harm of children, the harm of unborn children? Doesn't make any sense. How would you bring forth a law to say it's okay to harm children? Unless it's ritualistic, unless it has some ancient ties, unless it benefits some people for this world. Well, the Bible identified what's connected to Remphan, Christmas, Easter, Sunday worship. All of that's connected to the ancient rituals of Babylon and Canaan. And you notice all of these particular holy days, what? Celebrate and make it what? Make it conducive for children to participate. It focuses on children. And no one ever even looked at this. Some strange white guy in a red suit going around the world to give children's gifts.
Santa?
And no one ever even examined, like,
there is a Santa Claus.
How suspect that is. That a grown man is going around at night while the parents aren't in the room to give a children gifts. Ritualistic participation in plain sight. Right before us, MOLOCH.
Sweet Jesus!
Na ons vorige bezoek aan Ameland kregen we duizenden mails met de vraag waarom we niet van tevoren verslag hebben gedaan van Sinterklaas.
Wegwezen. Ik ben niks aan. Wegwezen hier nu.
We zijn nu een week van tevoren hier. Laten we kijken of de Amelanders nu wel wat willen zeggen. Hallo? We kunnen ook samen op de foto hoor. Dat is toch ook geen probleem? Volgende week schijnt hier een groot feest te zijn. Ja, wat voor feest?
Ja, wij vieren volgende week, net als in heel Nederland, Sinterklaas. Maar is dat het feest waar u op doelt?
Sinterklaas.
Sinterklaas? Oh, ja, dat is een Amelanderfeest. Ja. Daar kan ik u alleen heel weinig over zeggen. Want dat is voor de Amelanders. Dat is een feest van de Amelanders. En daar kan ik als buitenstaander niks over zeggen.
Waarom wordt er zo geheimzinnig over gedaan?
Weet ik niet, moet u de Amelanders vragen. Het is hun feest. Wat hier al jaren georganiseerd wordt door de Amelanders zelf. Het is hun feest en dat willen we ook graag zo maken.
U bent de burgemeester, dan bent u wel bekend met Sinterklaas.
Ik weet niet hoe het spel in elkaar zit en daar geef ik u ook geen toelichting op als ik er iets van zou weten. Want het is een spel van en voor Amelanders.
U kan mij toch niet vertellen dat u er niks van af weet?
Zoals ik zeg, ik geef u geen toelichting op het Sinterklaasfeest.
Waarom niet?
Omdat dat een feest is van Amelanders voor Amelanders. En dat willen de Amelanders graag zo houden. Als burgemeester van de Amelanders ga ik daarin mee.
Wij zijn heel erg benieuwd naar het feest wat vanavond gaat plaatsvinden hier.
Nee, sorry. Doeg.
Nee, ik wil nu de auto gaan. Ik ga hier nu weg, want dit is niet leuk. Dit is voor Amelanders en door Amelanders en jullie hebben niks te zoeken. Dan kan je...
Right? Now there's more. There's more of it. Let's go back to where we were, real quick in the Bible. Have you offered unto me sacrifices? Read.
Yes, sir. Have you offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? But you've borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and Chayun, your images, the star of your God.
The star of your God.
which ye made to yourselves.
Which ye made to yourselves. Folks, this is not the Star of David. It's the Star of Moloch, the Star of Remphan, the symbol for child sacrifice in plain sight. When you see the bull, know that children in that area aren't safe. They are not safe at all. Now we understand that possibly, allegedly, why some of our children go missing. And we just write these things off as what? Independent road crimes, as if there's not any organized intent to get their little grubby hands on our children.
The thing about Jimmy Savile, and I started writing in the books like The Biggest Secret, which came out in 1998. I wrote about all of this stuff. It was very clear from what's come out is the police knew about him. Special branch that's supposed to protect the royal family absolutely would have known about him. British intelligence knew about him.
Even the locals in the area, the rumours were rife.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even like just regular folk on the street knew.
But he was never collared for it. And then you start to look in the background. First of all, in his own words, he was invited into the inner core of the British royal family in the 1960s by a man called Lord Mountbatten. Lord Mountbatten was a known paedophile. He was infamous for it.
Has that been proven officially?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I mean, people have come out and they've talked about being abused by him. But, you know,
I've seen loads about this.
I don't cross the line and say this is how it is unless I've reached a point where I've got so much information from so different people. And so, a known paedophile brings Savile into the inner core of the British royal family, where he becomes a close friend of Prince Philip, till they had a big falling out apparently, and a close friend to his death of Prince Charles, now King Charles.
And he was in with a politician such as Thatcher.
Well, yeah. Again, he was a friend of Margaret Thatcher, and it was Margaret Thatcher's cabinet that all the stories came out about how many paedophiles there were in Thatcher's cabinet. Her father, who ran a grocery store in Grantham, was a known bloody paedophile. I mean, the girls were warned not to take a job at his shop, you know, bloody everywhere. And so anyway, what Savile was doing was like, people knew, but he was never collared. Because what he was doing, and this has not come out, he was a procurer of children for the rich and famous. He was supplying children. This has come out through at least one member of his family, and it has come out through other sources, through the...
It's not been broadcast in the way everything else was.
It's not coming out through the mainstream.
Yeah.
So Ted Heath, right? Ted Heath, the Prime Minister of Britain, who took us into the European, what became the European Union, the EEC, he was a paedophile and a Satanist. And I said so in The Biggest Secret. And that book was read to him in the week of publication, when he was still a member of Parliament.
How long ago was this?
This was 1998. And it was 17 years before the Wiltshire police did an investigation into Heath, paedophilia, and said if he was alive today, we would open an investigation. We would be questioning him on this.
What was his response when they read it to him?
He just said David Icke must be mad, and that was it. There was no other response, and I wasn't. That's what he did, and Savile was supplying children for him. This has come out through various different sources, not least in the so-called care home in Jersey, which came to prominence at one point, involving Ted Heath. And I'll tell you a quick story.
Was that the one that Savile was the...
Yeah, that he used to visit.
Because I've seen a clip of him, just for reference here, just so people know that there's, you know, from what I've seen even, there was a clip of him talking to a little girl, I think, in the bed, and she was really scared of him, and he said, "What have I done to make you so scared of me?" And she said, "Everything." And it was chilling. It was horrific.
People were scared of him.
Yeah.
Not least because, and not least media people were scared of him, because of his connections. When you're supplying children for pedophilia and sacrifice, by the way, to the rich and famous networks of the cult.
Because there were lots that went missing, right?
Yeah, exactly. On the number of kids go missing. I mean, people relate the number of kids go missing to the number of missing children's stories on the news. Forget that. Vastly greater than that. You never hear most of them. So they were, when you're supplying them with children, you don't get collared, first of all, for what you're doing. Anyone that threatens to exposure, well, they better watch their back as well, because the same people are watching his back. And I tell you,
a bit like what happened in America to Epstein. You know, he was in jail. He was ready to testify. Boom.
Yeah. Gone. Well, they tried to protect him. They protected him once, first round, and then when the women wouldn't give up, they had to stop him coming into court and it all coming out. Whether they killed him or whether they didn't, that's an open question that people have. But certainly he was disappeared. And by the way, on our media platform, Iconic, we have a program called Classified, which is really looking at the far out stuff. And recently, we interviewed a lady called Juliet Bryant, who is a known girl that was abused in the Epstein network. And she describes on that show how she saw him shift from what she described as from a human form to a dragon type form. And why they're doing the same sacrificial rituals now with these rich and famous billionaires as they were doing back then in Babylon and so on. It's because when you are going through the ritual, you've got your sacrificial victim, often a child, by the way, and there's a reason for that. You know, when they talk about the ancients sacrificing young virgins to the gods, that was children, basically. That's what we're talking about. What they're doing is systematically triggering terror in the sacrificial victim. The greater the terror they can elicit, the greater the offering to the gods. So it's all about terrorizing the victim. When people are exhibiting emotion or thought energy, like terror, for instance, you can see the body language of how they're feeling, because they're screaming or they're terrified or whatever. And if you're sensitive, you can pick up these vibrations and you can feel what they're feeling. When people saying, "Oh, I'm fine, mate." Oh, honestly, I'm fine, but you can feel it. You're not fine, are you?
You know what? It's just because you're mentioning this, because of all the issues we've been seeing on social media from Gaza. Seeing all these children all over my Twitter timeline crying and upset, it hits you immediately.
Yeah,
like you feel it.
Yeah, it's a vibrational connection. Yeah. You're picking up what they're giving off, and so you can feel that, and you can see the body language. What you can't do is see the frequencies. Why? Because they're being given off outside of our
visible light,
human system, and they're going into this astral dimension. That's why we can't see them. That's why we can't see the astral unless we have psychic abilities. And these gods on this peripheral lower frequency band of this astral dimension are absorbing these frequencies which the sacrifice is giving off. That's the sacrifice to the gods. And what happens in this world of the Satanists who are doing this in our reality, in the human reality, they then drink the blood of the sacrifice, because the chemical expression of that terror releases an adrenaline into the blood, which to them is like a drug, it's like a high. And they drink the blood, and people have seen this happen, have described how when they drink the blood, they go bloody wild often because of the effect it has upon them. And this is where adrenochrome comes from.
adrenochrome, a substance extracted from a living human body. But could such a drug be real? According to numerous independent researchers, not only is it real, many of the Illuminati elite are addicted to it and will stop at nothing to satisfy their depraved demand.
Said it would take me higher than I'd ever been in my life.
Join me as we dive down the dark rabbit hole of adrenochrome.
She said to my ear, "I'm going to drink your blood."
As your attorney, I advise you to take a hit out of the little brown bottle in my shaving kit. You won't need much. Just a tiny taste.
There it is. What is this?
That stuff makes pure mescaline seem like ginger beer, man.
Ginger beer?
Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome?
I stomped him and pulled all his teeth out.
I remember thinking, Jesus, what a terrible thing to lay on somebody with a head full of acid.
Behind bars. No, I'm moving to the Tropicana right away.
And then I'm investigating these rich and famous billionaires of today who are players in this cult. And again and again and again, I'm led into Satanism and pedophilia. Those two are absolutely connected for reasons I explain in the books. And what are these bloody billionaires doing satanic ritual sacrifices to their version of the gods, right?
It's just like the Owl God where we seen the footage that Alex Jones took.
Yeah, in Bohemian Grove.
Yeah,
stuff.
George Bush and all of them were there. Al Gore was there.
They're doing it to the same gods, right? They're same frickin' entities that the ancients were doing the sacrifices to and were terrified of. These people today are doing the sacrifices to in the cult. And I've talked to people all over the world over the decades. I've been doing this a long time. 34 years I've been doing it now, and they're coming up 34 years. And I've met Satanists and people that took part in rituals against their will who have told me of their experiences. And these are major players like the Royal Family, British Royal Family, Dutch Royal Family, all that stuff, all major players in this.
Now there's more.
Even when you do good,
there is more.
Evil always has his presence. There's that sin within all of us. When you get right, it's always watching, waiting, hoping you slip up. Walking evil, time to move different, time to turn this eagle to a stool pigeon. Talk of righteousness and not a mood switching. Trying to build a house, but the tools missing. Blaming everybody, brother, you tripping. Stuck in this world, I'm through sinning. Glass dark, I need true vision. Shine in the dark world, are you kidding? Who would listen? Everybody busy sinning, that's a given. Bunch of needy children who need a whipping. I'm busy chipping away at the sin I was living. Preaching addition, but the world teaching division. Instead of the law, they teaching religion. Logic is flawed, totally fiction. Lacking our God and what he's given. Tell me, why don't they listen? Is it the cowards now or the smooth talkers? Backsliding, moonwalkers. A coffin now is what they truly offer. Talk of money, but you never prosper. Doctors turn you into streetwalkers. Legalizing these child stalkers. The peak of iniquity's only getting taller. Brace yourself for the crumble of the dollar. But watch and pray. That's word from the Father. And what can I say? This world is a bother. Hopefully, he's with me truly. Evil all around me. I just pray it don't consume me. I see evil all around 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 me. Blessings, 'cause I know if I do good, evil is present. I see evil all around me. 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 But you will not consume me. Count my blessings, count my blessings, 'cause I know if I do good, evil will not consume me. concentrate, and the snake got his thinking his venom's what saves. I see devilish ways, ambition is a prison with a worthy inmate. I can't suffer this fate, gotta change my esteem, gotta clean this slate. But the world can't teach. It's like the truth of the powers beneath me. Blind gods in the church can't read me. I stumble in the dark that consumes and feeds me, and I just can't let go. My dollar won't creflo. I can't step to the threshold and live by the place where my very last breath goes. But this is society, murderous society. We love impropriety and all burn in hell. Do you not see the irony? It screams all around me. The sleep try to drown me. I ain't dying in the agony. I'm not gonna put my own soul in this concrete. But hopefully, the Father's with me truly. I see evil all around me. I just pray it don't consume. I see evil all around me. 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 No blessings, 'cause I know if I do good, evil is present. I see evil all around me. 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 But you will not consume me. Count my blessings, no blessings, 'cause I know if I do good, evil is present. You will not consume me. You will not consume me. No. So that explains for all of them times I thought I was by myself. I felt eyeballs on my back and then turned around and wasn't nobody there. It was evil, it was all around me. Looking for entrance, trying to pull me away from a higher and make me believe that's independence. And any way you try to go, it'll be there waiting for you, sitting for you. Job 9:24, the earth giving over to the wicked. But wait a minute, I know I just seen something run past my side vision. Am I tripping? Father, keep sending me your holy word. I'm listening, yeah. Malachi chapter 3 and 6. While you're higher, remain the way he is, so that we can copy and mimic this and not get consumed in various sin. 'Cause this crazy world that we living in, they out to be godless. So it's commandments we can get rid of them. Stop trying to defile us. Who are you to tell me I shouldn't do what my God told me? As for me and my house, read Joshua 24 and 15. But hopefully, hopefully the Father is with me truly. I see evil all around me. I just pray it don't consume me. I see evil all around 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 me. No blessings, 'cause I know if I do good, evil is present. I see evil all around me. 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 But you will not consume me. You will not consume me. 'Cause I know if I do good, evil is present. You will
Yeah. Just trying to endure and never fall, Connor. You know how that goes. Your Southern Cali body.
Malachi 3 and 6. For I am thy power of higher. I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed.
La maldad me rodea en todo tiempo, pero el Todopoderoso me librará de todo mal.
You will not consume me. Your mind is playing tricks on you.
And the devil is throwing dirt. Hey, why do I hear the real one?
Don't put that in it.